So where I'm going to be when I start off is the first is your home in West Harbor. And so the game starts off with you talking to your mentor, and he kind of lets you know what's kind of going on and that what you need to do to kind of get the game going. And so we have included a tutorial that kind of tells you at all the times kind of what you want to do. But what you can do as well for people like I know everything there is to know about Neverwinter Nights, so I don't need a tutorial. You just stop the tutorial and it goes away. So I'll just kind of continue the tutorial just so that I can kind of get out of here. And we have two different kinds of dialogue systems in Neverwinter 2. We sort of have the cinematic dialogue system, in which everything's going to be full VO and full lip sync. The lip syncing we're still tuning it, so that's why he looks like he's got some cleft palate issues. But but you know that'll all be fixed by the time the game comes out. And the other mode was sort of like when that tutorial box was up. We kind of have the two modes so that it's obvious when conversations are important, and then a lot of conversations you can kind of just get through quickly. So just sort of an example of sort of the graphics engine that we've put in here. So all the lighting in the game is dynamic, and also we've really tried to kind of create kind of very dramatic lighting. So what you'll see in a lot of these areas is sort of just a very kind of a different levels of lighting from, you know, as you spin the camera around. We've also made it so you can play the game in two different ways. The mode that I have it in right now is sort of a follow the camera mode, like you'd play WoW or a lot of other RPGs. But we've still left in sort of the original isometric control view, where I can go like this, and I can just move the camera around, and I can kind of see what's going on in the whole area. So now this area is sort of similar. I mean, it looks a whole lot better than the original game, but it's still very kind of we've kept the tile-based system, so people kind of can put down a tile here, a tile here, a tile there to make an area. Because what we have to do whenever we're thinking about new features or how we're going to make the game for Neverwinter, we have to make sure that it's something that the modders can create. And so it's kind of a different game than I've ever worked on, and it's a different game than a lot of people at Obsidian have worked on, in that any decision we make about design or features or everything, it also has to, the next question is always, well then how is that going to work in the tool set? Because it has to be, and it's one of our biggest priorities, is that we want whatever our designers can do, we want them to be able to, the people who buy the game, to do it themselves as well. So now I'm going to go into the main area of West Harbor, and now this kind of shows the whole new kind of how we're doing exterior terrains, which it's all kind of a height map. So a lot of like in a first-person shooter like Battlefield 2 or a lot of the other ones, is sort of kind of this rolling organic terrain. And again, all generated in the tool set, and people can do this all themselves. And but I guess the other thing about the rolling terrain is that it really allows us to not just play around with sort of like how the ground looks and how it feels, but also how we can really play a lot with height, and we can now put in things like like rivers, and we spend a certain amount of time on water. It reflects and it looks pretty, and because it's always very important that water looks pretty. And so now the next thing that I'm going to show is kind of it kind of is a multifaceted thing. A big part of a lot of the games that we make is sort of how companions are involved in the story, and kind of that in particularly Neverwinter Nights 2, we've tried to make them a really large part of the story. You'll have companions that go around with you that may betray you, that they'll help you. We've expanded upon the influence system that we created for Knights of the Republic 2, so that they can you can convince people to turn good to evil or evil to good, all depending upon how you kind of talk to them and the things that you do. Now on top of that, because we've kind of added them to the story a lot, and we also wanted people to have a lot of control over them. And so what we've done is kind of almost made it so that I can just go in and I can now just choose to control any of the characters that I want whenever I want to control them. Now what that does as well is it kind of makes combat a little bit more strategic now, because I can pause the game, And I can choose my characters, and I can tell one to go here, I can tell one to go here, and I can tell another one to go here. And then when I unpause the game, they go and do those things. And so in combat, I can choose to have someone go and attack something over there, cast this spell, so forth and so on.